My name is Shametria Johnson, and I will be interviewing this young lady. What is your name?
Gail Young,
When were you born?
1959,
How do you identify yourself?
African American.
Have you always lived in the same area you do today?
No.
Where did you live?
Well, I've lived several places.
Where were you born?
In Rosenberg, Texas.
What did your grandparents and your mother do for a living?
My grandmother was a maid, and my mother was a cook.
Did you grow up in the city or country?
Country.
Were your parents or your grandmother slaves?
No. My great-grandmother lived on the plantation, and she wasn't a slave. She was known as a house nigger. So that means she had privileges over the other people.
What made her a house nigger?
Because she was born on the plantation, and she did chores in the house, like they washing and cooking, and took care of their kids.
How much education did you and your family get as a back then?
My grandmother only went to the 6th grade, and I think my great-grandmother, I think she went to the 4th grade.
They never got to get further education?
No.
Did your mother get to make it past the 6th grade?
Yes, my mother got to the 9th grade.
And you? Did you
And
get
me?
to?
Oh, I'm a 12th grader.
That's good. Was there anything you felt you couldn't do because of your race or your identity?
Well, back then there was really much we could do.
Mama,
Because we were separated. The blacks lived on one side and the whites lived on one side. So we were separated. So, yes, I couldn't go play with the little white kids because we wasn't allowed.
What do you remember most about your childhood?
I remember the fun that I used to have with my cousins and friends, how we used to go play in the woods, and we used to go take soda water bottles. Back then, soda water bottles was worth a nickel a piece. So a nickel was a lot of money back then. But that's what most we hung out and played a lot.
Is there any story you would like to share when you were a child?
Let's see. I remember once we was playing in the woods, and we was trying to steal soda water bottles. And we got all the soda water bottles, and we went to the store and sold them. And so we all went back in the woods and had a little party with our food. We had cookies, sodas, candy. And so we all got through eating. Then I get home. And the lady who was soda water bottles we stole, she was up knocking at the door. And my grandmother went to the door and she said, "Smoothie, Gail was down there stealing my soda water bottle." And I said, no, I wasn't. No, I wasn't. And so my grandmother said, "You called another lie." I said, "No, but I ain't do it." And that was the first time my grandmother ever whooped me.
Okay. interaction did you have with people of the other race?
I think we all are one. So I don't have any beef with them.
When you were younger, did you get to interact with the other race?
We wasn't allowed to. Or back then, we all had, the whites had their school, the black had their school. So we never interact with them. But the day that we got segregated, that we was on our way to school on our bus. And we supposed to have went to the white school. But when we got there, they was throwing rocks and stuff at our bus and was shaking our bus until we just went on to our other school. We never did go to their school.
Oh, the bus driver turned the bus around?
Mm-hmm.
Okay. What do you think about today's generation and their lack of knowledge on the African American history?
I think today's generation are smarter than my generation was, because now that we have mixed couples, they have a lot of mixed couples now, where then in my generation that wasn't allowed, but now that they can do it freely now, so their knowledge, they're, as I say, more smarter than that we were, because they're not afraid to attempt to do anything than we were.
What advice would you give the younger generation?
The advice I'll give them is to be more respectable and to honor their fathers and mothers, because they never know what they went through in life, and to further their education.
Do you feel that racism still exists?
Oh yes, 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 yes. Look at Trayvon Martin. Look at Rodney King. You know, those are just a few to let you know racism still go on.
Okay. What are your thoughts about the idea of mental slavery? Do you feel like African Americans are still mentally enslaved?
Oh yes, yes. Especially the older generation. The younger generation, they're not mentally slaves. Some of them, I don't think they are. But mostly our older generation, they're still stuck back in slavery days. So that's what I feel.
Do you fear because of all of the African American killings, from the church killing and all the white officers killing all the African American, do you feel like slavery might come back?
It never left. It never left. We just do it a different way now, but it never left. It's still here.
Do you think that it will ever disappear?
Never. Because we have some white people that are still prejudiced, and we have some black people that are still prejudiced. So no, it'll never leave.
Okay. To sum up this interview, what is a statement that you would think, in one word, that sums up your thoughts on African Americans and black people of today?
I think that we've come a long way, and we still have a long way to go. But I think that the newer generation is gonna kind of help us eliminate some of the racism. Not all of it, because it'll never all leave. But I think that we still have a chance, to make things happen. And it's up to us to make the change.
Even when you were going to an African American school, would you taught about African American history?
Never. Never.
Were teachers African American?
Yes. But I don't think they taught us about George Washington and Thomas Jefferson and stuff like that.
They never taught about.
Mm-mm.
Okay. Thank you for watching my interview.